I want to talk to you today about why you need a door-to-door sales team in your company. I've been in the door-to-door space for 8 years now, and I've grown a team of over 80 people that sells over $50 million a year in solar sales. And there's a lot of companies that I think are fantastic for marketing and online ads and SEO and all of those kind of ways of getting business in. And I think there's a lot of great companies that are great for door-to-door, but there are really the stigmas of like pest control, solar, roofing, and alarm sales. And then a lot of these other businesses that I think can be really, really good with door-to-door reps don't touch door-to-door. And I'm not quite sure why. So today I want to talk to you about a potential $1 million leak you have in your business. And I think it can be done very, very easily. The average online ad conversion is 1%. That's across all the different platforms and companies, so it's kind of hard to pull that data, that's why I'm saying that. But versus door-to-door, the average conversion rate of a door-to-door rep to appointment to sale is 5%. And so it's basically 5x the amount of the chances that it's gonna convert. Now the other part that's left out of that data is though, how much does SEO cost and Google ad space and running those meta ads compared to how much a door-to-door sales rep costs? Door-to-door sales reps, if they're really good sales reps and they're 1099, cost your business nothing and then only make your company money. So like just basic math, if it costs you $0 to get a deal and $0 to get a lead and it makes your company $1,000, that's technically an infinite return. And so that's what we've done with Plug PV, and we have our sales arm of our business. So I'm not an owner of Plug PV. However, I own my own sales force and we're directly integrated with Plug PV. So our solar company, they do all the installs and they handle all the construction, the procurement of the job. My team, my company, does all of the sales. They're two separate entities, but we work together, right? Plug PV doesn't pay me or our sales reps anything at all unless we sell. So if we don't sell, it costs them nothing. So their risk is almost zero, it's extremely low, but their upside is everything because we give them over $50 million a year in sales. Depending on the business you're in, I think there's really, I guess you can summarize it into more, but there's really two kind of products. There's ones that need to be sold, where like you have to go out and sell somebody solar, they're not just gonna come and buy it. And then there's products that don't need to be sold, people are just gonna buy them, right? So like online widgets that you're selling, like if you're selling mason jars on Amazon, you're not gonna go out and sell and force people to buy mason jars. They're just gonna buy mason jars because they need it right now for their time. Compared to solar is a thing where you have to go out and sell solar. You have to go out and make that connection and make people understand that, hey, they can get solar, right? It's a much more product that you have to go do that. And there's products where you don't have to do that. However, I think the majority of products can be sold door to door, just like they can. The majority of products can be sold on SEO or over meta ads or whatever it may be that you're using for marketing right now. So I think door-to-door sales reps unlock a whole new part of business that you've never ever touched if you haven't done it before. For example, when I go door to door or when my team goes door to door, the majority of people we knock, the majority of people we sell, 80% of people we sell, literally have stated, I would never go solar, I don't like solar, or just straight up said, no, this is not something I'm interested in at all. Those people would have never went solar unless we knocked on the door, explained to them what's going on in New York State right now, explained to them why they need solar, and then ultimately made their decision for them to get solar. If we didn't go out and create that lead, that person would have never been sold. Now there's other people in our market where they have an EV car and they know they want solar, and so they reach out to companies and get solar. Here's the difference though. When someone is reaching out to get solar, what we found in our business is that when they come online, because we do get a lot of people clicking on our website, filling out forms on our website, those people on average get 3 quotes per deal. Therefore, the average commission you make on an internet lead compared to a door-to-door lead is about 5x. So if you make $1,000 on an internet lead, you're gonna make $5,000 on a door-to-door lead. And on top of that, an internet lead, that person most of the time is getting so many quotes and they just want the product, they don't want the experience. Where door-to-door, our sales reps are so good, and the reason why we're so valuable in door-to-door is because we give people such a good experience. The thing with door-to-door sales reps is they're 1099, meaning they're incentivized to go out and give the customer the best experience so that they can get referrals, they can make money and keep the deal. Because if you have a product cycle that isn't, a week turnaround, if from the sales process, the sale of the product to the install or to when it's fulfilled is multiple weeks or even multiple months, throughout that process, that person is incentivized by not being paid until install to go out and make sure that this person is really, really taken care of. So I believe, in my opinion, door-to-door sales reps give the best customer experience possible out of any other sales. Just think about it. If you're a W-2 employee and you're in sales and you get paid a salary, and you get paid a small piece for that commission. If let's say you're making $300 for this deal. So you have your $1,000 a week salary coming in, plus every deal you sell, you make $300 on. How hard will you work for that deal? A person who's making $1,000 a week in salary plus $300 a deal compared to someone who's making $4,000 on that deal. Which person do you think is going to work harder to get that deal? Probably this person over here who's going to make $3,000 in the deal, because they either make $0 or $3,000, or this person either makes $1,000 or $1,300. Not that big of a difference, where this is a huge difference. So the experience a door-to-door sales rep gives to a homeowner is 10 times better than a W-2 employee or someone who's not, or is an internet lead or some other thing, because they care so much more, because their entire income depends on it. So I think a lot of the shade door-to-door people get is that they're very, very money hungry, and they just try to shove the product down people's throat. And yes, that is a possibility. And so when you're building a door-to-door sales team, you have to build it the right way. But that's just like anything else. And so if you build the door-to-door sales team and they have high integrity and they are good people and they're selling a good product, there is no better customer experience, in my opinion, that anybody can have other than a door-to-door sales rep knocking on their door and holding their hand throughout the entire process. I cannot tell you how many of our sales reps get invited to cookouts, get invited to parties, get invited to kids' baseball games or whatever it may be, because there's such a personal one-on-one experience. And the other thing is, in the world today, everything is becoming online, AI. I've talked about this in previous videos, email back and forth, phone calls. How often do you get somebody that actually comes to your house and gives you an in-person quote and then holds your hand throughout the entire process? Not very common anymore. Almost no products do that. Think about the last 15 products you bought. What was the process like? Why was it a good customer experience? Well, it was a good customer experience because it was delivered on time, because they were good communicators back and forth via email or phone call. But how many of those people came out to your house 3 or 4 times? The thing with our door-to-door sales process, the way we do things, is there's typically 5 touch points. The first time you knock on the door, when you run an appointment, when you come back to sign loan docs, when you show back up to their house for install, and when you stop by later on for what we call PTO. We're going to a customer's house 5 times. Do you think when we show up to somebody's house 5 times that they're likely to give referrals or not? Do you think they're likely to remember the name of the company and to talk highly about them or no? Probably high chances. So we have built a huge referral network because of our door-to-door sales reps and because of their representation of the product and the people. And so on top of that, it costs Plug PV, or it costs our company or your company nothing, because these people only bring in more and more business. So it's infinite ROI. And so if you have a business right now that maybe it's not standard to go door to door, how can you implement this? So let's say you're a painting business, okay? And you are the sole owner and you have one other guy or 2 other people that help you kind of paint. Do you think it's valuable to do this at a bare minimum? When you go and you do a painting job in XYZ neighborhood, when you're done with that painting job, do you think it's wise to spend 3 hours before you go home for the day to take your business cards, your flyers, or anything else, knock on the neighbor's door and say, hey, my name is John. I actually just painted Susan's house down the street. I'm just in the neighborhood, so I want to stop by and introduce myself to all the neighbors. Here's my card, here's my pamphlet, here's my business. If you ever want to know more, if you ever want to get a quote for painting, I would love to offer the business to you and love to come out and give you guys a quote. So if you do ever need anything, feel free to call me. It costs you $0. Maybe it costs you $20 to get all of those flyers printed out or your business cards. Basically nothing. And I can almost guarantee with absolute certainty, if you talk to 50 people every single week before you go home when you finish that job, I can guarantee you will never run out of business. Because out of those 50 people, you're guaranteed for 10 of them to say, oh yeah, actually I am interested in paid. Maybe I'll give you a call. And you're guaranteed for 3 of them to text you and say, can you come out and give me a quote for this exterior wall or this interior wall or this or that? All you have to do is go and say hello to people. It's fascinating what you can get if you just talk to people and you just go door to door and introduce yourself as somebody who does that product in that neighborhood. How much money do you think door to door generates per year in the US alone? How much money do you think door to door generates in the US alone? Before I answer you, I want you to leave a comment and tell me what the amount of money is that comes from door to door in America. Comment first before I tell you. Okay. The number is $30 billion a year comes from door to door sales. It's a $30 billion a year industry, just door to door itself. That's not probably counting all the referrals and everything else that comes from it. Contractors or 1099 reps on average stay for double the amount of time a W-2 employee is. W-2 is about 2.5 years, where a contractor 1099 sales rep is about 4.8 years. So it's double the time. And on top of that, they typically do a 10 times better job with your homeowners, with your customers. Let's talk about how to build your door-to-door sales team. Depends on the business you're in. And door-to-door, which I've learned now being in 6 or 7 different states, that I've knocked in about 15, 20 different states, and all these different counties, I've knocked on over 50,000 doors in my life, and I have a large sales team now that all knocks on doors. Every market is different, every place is different, and you do have to kind of learn your market a little bit. However, I would start with just one person that their job simply becomes going out and knocking on doors. Maybe they just do it part-time. Maybe they are still a W-2 employee in your business, or there's someone who works for you that you trust really, really well, or maybe it has to be you, but your job is just to go out and have 50 conversations a week. And that may be your Saturday used to be your day off, and now on Saturday you go spend 3 to 4 hours in the field and you talk to all the neighbors where your install happened or your product happened or whatever it may be. If you just do that, you will see the benefit of it after 3 weeks of doing it. And then my opinion is you should go hire one person to do this. Once you have one person, I would have them write down all their data, numbers, and proof, and then do a case study or do a split test about how much money did this one person bring in 90 days. I would contract them out for 90 days and figure out how much money did they cost me and how much money did they make me. After you do that data, if you find that the person is not valuable, maybe door-to-door isn't right for you and maybe it's not the right business. I still think you're wrong, but that's fine. But if you find out how much money this person does make you, then I think you continue to hire out a small door-to-door sales team. And it all depends on your business. Maybe like you don't want an 80-person sales team across 5 different cities in New York State. Maybe you don't want that. But if you have 1, 2, or 3, or maybe even 5, you can see how much extra money it brings to your business. And I just think it's such a slept-on thing to do. Not everything has to be online. It is okay to go door-to-door and speak to human beings. Number 2 is give them a system. You have to get a script, a training, objection handling, a CRM, route planning. Give them as much help as you can to go out and do it to make it as easy as possible for them. Number 3, build the culture. I don't think there's better people in the world than door-to-door salespeople in terms of the business world, because they handle so much rejection. It's like they go through so much BS every day that they're just good people at the end of the day. For example, if every day you woke up and ran 10 miles or did really, really a hard workout every single day, the rest of the day, you're so much more relaxed and you don't care nearly as much because you've already done so many of the hard things. So door-to-door people are typically a lot like that. And then just let them, step 4 is just give them the right branding and tools and things and resources to help them be successful. Cards, pamphlets, CRMs, maybe a sticker on their truck, whatever it may be, to help them go out and to be a good door-to-door sales rep. So to summarize this whole video, in my opinion, a great door-to-door sales team is the single most profitable thing you can do for your business, because again, if it costs you almost nothing to have the team and it brings you a couple $1 million a year in new business, it is the best return on investment you can possibly have. And so it can and should be the most profitable thing in your business if you do it correctly. If you have really, really good door-to-door sales reps that are very reputable and care about their customer a lot, that is the direct point of contact that the homeowner has or the customer has with your business. And so if they're really, really good, then they think inherently, well, XYZ company is really, really good because of how John treated me. So they are like the forefront, the front line of your business. And if they have a bad experience with a rep or someone, then they think, oh, XYZ company is not good because of how John treated me. So if they treat the company really, really well, you have basically infinite referrals and word of mouth and reputation because they did a fantastic job. And my point before is that they're incentivized to do a good job because they're 1099, so they have to do a good job. I think the reason there's such a bad stigma with door-to-door sales reps is because there's a blitz culture in door-to-door, meaning a team will live in Jacksonville, Florida, fly to New York, knock on doors for 3 months, and then leave. How much do you think these reps care about doing good business if they're only in this county for 3 months and then they go back to a whole nother place? That's why door-to-door is such a bad name. My sales reps and the way we've built it, all of our sales team live in the exact county they sell solar in and have lived there for years. Some people have lived there their entire life. I've lived in this county, Dutchess County, my entire life. And so I'm not going to do people wrong because I have to continue to go to the grocery stores here and live in this territory. And I don't want my name slandered. So if you have that kind of a business where you do that, you can have phenomenal door-to-door sales reps that cost you no money, only make you money, and are the best brand builders in the world. And so, in my opinion, it is very, very wise for businesses to have door-to-door sales team. I'd love to know your thoughts and if you agree with me. If you have a door-to-door sales team, how it's working for you. And if you'd like to learn more about how to build a door-to-door sales team, feel free to reach out to me and I'd love to help you guys out. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next video.